one with a vision and the other with an idea. When the vision and the idea combined with determination and hard work, it resulted in this beautiful, charming town that was once a ghost town. Leavenworth in Washington, USA is a miracle town which at one time was a poor, ugly duckling mountain town that now has become a beautiful swan. In the early 1960s, Leavenworth was dying, mostly a collection of drab, neglected or boarded up storefronts. Its streets were almost deserted and travelers rarely stopped except for gas or a bite to eat. But Ted Price and Bob Rogers came with a vision, with an idea, a pipe dream that transformed the ghost town into an authentic Bavarian village and brought prosperity to the community. Miracle Town is the story of how ordinary men and women found hope, pulled themselves up by the bootstraps, and united to overcome economic depression and revitalize their town without much money, without professional know-how, and without government funds. Today, 1 million people visit Bavarian Leavenworth throughout the year to enjoy its old world architecture, its festivals, its food, its cultural and recreation activities, and its very friendly people. Leavenworth is a town that refused to die. It is one of those magical towns so many search for and seldom find. A rare happiness is sensed by visitors from congested cities who come to feed the soul and clear the mind of ambitions that generate stress. The mountains and valleys of the Leavenworth area bear a striking resemblance to the Bavarian and Swiss Alps, but it was not until that Ted Price and Bob Rogers arrived in 1960 that Bavarian theme was adopted in the area's architecture and cultural activities. Ted refers to Bavarian Leavenworth as a miracle of giving, but the miracle he refers to is not a physical transformation of a dying town into a charming Bavarian village. Rather, it is the spirit that lies behind the transformation, the creative powers, imagination, intuition, and inner vision that motivated and guided the people of a small, depressed town committed to self-improvement. The initial remodeling was accomplished without any government money whatsoever. When money was needed, it just seemed to appear. The same phenomenon occurred when the need was for professional knowledge or skills. The right people with the talents and abilities most needed seemed to appear in town at just the right time. Have you ever had an impossible dream? Wished for a miracle? Being told that you had foolish ideas and it's impossible to achieve? In Leavenworth, Washington, Ted Price and Bob Rogers had many impossible dreams and foolish ideas, and they believed in miracles. This is a story about a vision that came true, about the transformation of Leavenworth from a town that was dying into a Bavarian village. They believed that ordinary people like you and me are wonderfully capable of bringing magic, beauty, and enjoyment into the lives of others. Every first-time visitor to Leavenworth wonders, how did this happen? How in the world did such a small town do all of this? The story of the Leavenworth miracle has never been told fully, and indeed perhaps it never will be, for it is many stories involving most of the town's residents and dozens of people from other places. The town had almost gotten to be a ghost town. So many of the buildings downtown were boarded up. Leavenworth was a dead town economically. What you see here today is a result of a group of very dedicated people with a vision for the future. Bob Rogers says, "My ideas would have gone nowhere had Ted not taken hold of them and been able to see what would happen, because he is a visionary and I'm more of what's happening today. A person can have ideas, but if they are not put to use, well, they don't get anywhere." So, early in 1960, armed with their naivety, total lack of experience, just enough cash and a ton of enthusiasm, Ted and Bob took the step that was to change their lives forever and also the lives of the people in Leavenworth. The secret of Leavenworth lies in giving. People gave and gave and gave of their time, their creative talents, their professional abilities, their labor, their hearts and goodwill. More tellingly, they gave hard-earned, even borrowed money, often at quite a sacrifice to themselves and their families. You surely have had your own impossible dreams and foolish ideas. Maybe you have a vision now. I hope that in some way Leavenworth's story might encourage you to be willing to follow your own inspiration. Bob Rogers and Ted Price were newcomers to Leavenworth. They suggested a Bavarian theme as a way to revitalize the community and discussed new ideas to promote tourism as an industry. The response was to be expected. It won't work. Where are you going to get the money for it? You're not an expert. How do you expect to do that without professional know-how? Why can't you leave things the way they are? Why do you have to change things? We don't want any foreigners here from Seattle. No outsider is going to tell us what to do. Why a German theme? We don't have a lot of Germans here. Tourism isn't an industry. We never made a nickel on a tourist yet. You are just here to make a lot of money off of us. But those attitudes gradually changed, and the town you see today reflects those changes. Its story begins with the spirit that lies within all of us, a spirit that awakened can make miracles happen. Miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. They are everyone's right. A miracle is never lost. It may touch many people you have not even met and produce undreamed of changes in situations of which you are not even aware. Once, Ted told the group, "Castles on the ground, it is said, are not built until we first dream about them. Every structure is first the dream of the architect. Dreams that are realized become an inspiration to others for new endeavors. Let's not allow seeds of doubt to destroy our dreams and aspirations." Ted was the dreamer who initiated so much that has become a reality in Leavenworth, and he was involved in almost every major project from the beginning. In fact, Ted and his partner Rogers invested so completely in the vision of a Bavarian Leavenworth that for years they were often on the verge of bankruptcy. As events seemed to steamroller along and Leavenworth was transformed, Ted did not seek personal recognition. While he was skilled at generating wide-scale publicity for Leavenworth, he tried to avoid it for himself. Sometimes he and Bob led and served openly, but often they preferred to remain behind the scenes and, like two Johnny Appleseeds, plant ideas for change in the minds and imaginations of others. Artists, prophets, and visionaries are celebrated, but rarely are they understood when they first appear in a community. No one with a creative mind is ever received openly and gladly by the world at large, because original ideas mean that people's attitudes must change and their lives will never be the same as before. A radical change means we have to be willing to let go, to risk losing some control over our lives, to embrace the unknown in life. Our defense against such a threatening change sometimes is to attack the messenger who comes with new ideas. Thus, along with their success, Ted and Bob encountered misunderstanding, obstacles and difficulties, resentment and jealousy. Bob has said, "I think one of the biggest disappointments for Ted was the distrust that people had of him. It's probably cost him thousands of nights of missed sleep. Now that the dream is a reality, it is fitting that Ted tell his story. And it is typical of him that in doing so, he has looked beyond any past discouragement and adversity to write a tribute to the people of Leavenworth. To Ted, the miracle of giving for each one is an attitude toward oneself and others. It is a way of living that arises out of openness, selflessness, and cooperation that encourages each person to express his or her greater abilities and talents. More than anything else, it is the true understanding that what we give to another, give to ourselves. Although Ted and Bob are no longer active in the affairs of Leavenworth, they are present in spirit and there they will always be. Washington's Bavarian village Leavenworth, a miracle town, was named after Captain Charles Leavenworth, who made the area known as Icicle Flats. When the Great Northern Railroad rerouted its track and moved out, Leavenworth almost became a ghost town. It wasn't until the early 1960s that leaders had the vision and foresight to transform what was a struggling frontier town into a beautiful Bavarian village. Today, Leavenworth has a population of over 2,000 and is known as Washington's Little Bavaria. More than 2 million visitors come each year to experience festivals, food and beer. Leavenworth is well known for German culture, outdoor activities and Oktoberfest. Town residents always extend warm welcome to its visitors.